hit record on this. Okay, so for parabolas into descriptive form by completing this square, we're going to do an example at the same time we do a problem, and then I'm going to give you guys one to try. So this is really example 2. So so we want to put the following into descriptive form. So when you do your homework, they're going to ask you to put this into descriptive form as well, and then graph it. So you're going to have to do both things in your homework. So you're going to have to put it into descriptive form, and you're going to have to graph it on some of these.
Babe, do you not like this or something?
Do I what?
Do you not like this or something? I feel like this is personal. Sign is all this new word.
Mm-hmm.
It's all hard and stuff.
Mm.
It's still a good question.
Then shed.
Okay, so our first thing that we have to do is rearrange. And when we rearrange this in order to be able to complete the square, we have to figure out if it should be like a y minus k style or an x minus h. So if it's a vertical or horizontal parabola. And so if it is, we would rearrange it to y minus k equals ax squared plus bx. Or if it's a horizontal parabola, we would do x minus h and then ay squared plus by. So we kind of have to be able to look to see, okay, well, what should we be rearranging it to? And they're not always going to be as straightforward as this example in terms of, like, I have everything like y equals already. Sometimes they'll be jumbled up even more than this. So we kind of have to look to see, okay, well, what's the squared term to decide how to rearrange this. So because my x term is being squared, I'm going to be putting it into the form of a vertical parabola, so y minus k. Okay, so this is the form I want to do. Okay, so with that, let's see, Dechia, what should I do first if I want to put it into this form here?
Subtract 2 on both sides.
Okay, good.
What did you say? Is that dx?
Pardon me?
Is that dx?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. And then our second step, once we rearrange it, is we're going to factor out any leading coefficient. So I'm just going to abbreviate that. So the leading coefficient, and so this part right here, make sure it's the number only you're taking out. So a lot of times that there's like a variable that you can pull out as well, but we only want to take out that front number because we're trying to complete the square. So remember, we're trying to complete the square. So I can pull out a 3 from both of these. And then because I'm trying to complete the square, I'm going to put a blank there because I need to figure out what number goes there. And whatever I add to this side, I'm going to also have to add to this side as well, right? So underneath this, I'm going to go plus and then put a blank because whatever I add here, I have to add here. So all I've done is pull out the 3, and so I'm trying to figure out what constant I need to have a perfect square trinomial. So I know that -2 plus -2 gives me my -4. So then to find this number, it's when I multiply it by itself. So just as a little reminder, so -2 plus -2, that's how I got the -4. So to find this value, I just do -2 times itself, which is +4. All right, so now this part you guys need to think about for a second. So I added 4 inside the parentheses over here. I also need to keep my equation balanced and add something over here. I am not going to add 4 though. What should I be adding over here?
2.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
6.
Okay, so what did I add inside the parentheses here? I added a 4,
Oh, that's what we said.
right?
Yeah.
Inside the parentheses, I added 4. Okay, but what did I add to the entire right side of the equation? I didn't add 4 to the whole right side. I added 3 times 4, so what did I add over here?
12.
I added 12. So and someone said that, good job to the person who said that earlier. So this is 3 times 4, so I have to add 3 times 4 on this side as well, so I need to add 12. So what's tough about these problems is we have to kind of slow down and think about what we're doing, okay? So we know that we're adding to the right-hand side of the equation. Inside of the parentheses, we're adding 4. But to the whole right side, it's being also multiplied by 3. So I'm really adding 12, and that's how I'm going to keep my equation balanced. And then my last step is I just need to simplify and factor. So here I have negative 2 plus 12, so that would be y plus 10. I have a 3 here. And then I need to factor this. So I know it's negative 2 twice, so I can just write that as x minus 2 and then squared. And there's descriptive form. Okay, let's do one more here. Okay, so step 1. Okay, so Dylan, what does step 1 tell us to do? We have to rearrange it. Are we trying to get it to the top style or the bottom style? The bottom one, because that's the one with the squared term. So I need it to look like the x minus h equals ay squared plus by. And so Eduardo, what do I need to do to get started on that? Okay, so we're trying to get it to look like this. So what do I need to do so it matches up with this better? Okay, good job. So this doesn't have like an h value with it, but that's okay, right? It's just 0 if it's not there. Okay, right, good. And then Micah, what does step 2 tell us to do? So we want to factor out the leading coefficient, the number only. So what am I going to factor out of both of those? Okay. And then we want to do the number only, so we're going to factor out. Okay, good. And then whatever I add to one side, I have to add to the other. Okay, so Ben, what number am I going to have to add to the side to make it a perfect square?
1.
I'm going to have to add 1. I'm not going to add 1 on this side, right? It's going to be bigger than 1. So what am I going to add to this side? I'm going to add... Okay, I'm hearing 6 and 3. 3.
Why was it 12 on the other one?
This one was 12 because I did 3 times 4.
Yeah.
This one I'm going to do 3 times 1.
Oh, that's way worse. Okay.
Okay. So I really have nothing to add 3 to, so it's going to stay x plus 3. And then Ari, what's this side gonna factor to?
I don't know. Okay.
So how did we get the 2 here? What plus what gives me 2?
1.
And then I did 1 times itself.
Yeah.
So I used, what number did I use twice?
1.
I used 1 twice, so what's going to go in here then?
X minus 1.
Okay, and I used positive 1 though.
X positive 1?
It's positive 1, not minus 1.
Okay.
Why is it positive 1?
Because we use a positive for 1 plus 1.
Okay, good. Okay.
Oh.
All right, let me give you guys one more to try here.